All right, hi everybody. This is Mr. Manning, and this activity today is going to be called Table Tidbits. It's very similar to the activity that you did in the previous class called Word Tidbits. That was the one where there were several steps that you had to do to make adjustments to the recipes. And if you remember, there was like spaghetti and chicken fajitas, and you had to change the size of the text and so on. You guys kind of remember that one, right? So this one is going to be really similar to that. You are still going to be following the directions to make changes to a document. However, on this table tidbits, there is only 10 things to do. If you remember on the last one, there was 15. So it's a little bit shorter, which is nice. Now, you're going to be creating a table of your class schedule. And for a lot of you, you've probably never done a table before. So I decided to make this video of myself creating a table just so that you could watch it and kind of follow along. So you're going to need two things. The first one is you're going to need the Table Tidbits worksheet that looks like this. You can find this in the toolbox, or I've also placed a copy on Edmodo. The second thing you're going to need is a blank Word document, so something like this. This is going to be where the table that we create is going to appear. All right, so I'm going to be switching back and forth quite a bit between the two. You might want to do like a little bit of a split screen action, whatever you find easiest. Okay. Also, I'm going to go through all of these steps and do them on the blank document, but I'm not going to fill out what ribbon or do the screen capture of the button. You should do that, but I'm not going to, just to save time on the video, so this thing doesn't end up being 30 minutes long. Okay? All right, so hey, number one, it says insert a table that has 3 columns and 9 rows. All right, so I'm going to go to my blank document. To insert a column, you actually go to, or to insert a table, you go to the insert ribbon. And the insert ribbon is right here. And over on the left-hand side is table. So when you click down on it, you can actually choose how many rows or how many columns you want. This one we've said we wanted 3 columns and 9 rows. So columns go up and down, so that's 3. And then rows go left and right. Now this will only allow me to get to 8. And I want 9, right? So since I need to draw or create a table that's a little bit larger, I'm actually going to click on Insert Table. And I get this window right here, and it gives me a little bit more flexibility on how many columns and rows I can do. So I'm going to change this to 3 and change this to 9. So 3 and 9, and I hit OK. And Word creates my table for me. I can make adjustments to this later. If I need to add additional columns or rows, I can do that. But this is just going to be kind of a good starting point. All right, so we've got number 1 already done. Moving down to number 2. Oh, notice this part. It says across the top row, place our class and teacher from left to right. Fill in the remaining boxes with your class schedule. Refer to the example if needed. All right, so the example is a document that I placed on Edmodo and in the toolbox that is a final version of this activity. It's meant just to help you kind of see if you're doing it correctly or not, almost like a key. So you can refer to that example if you want to, or just continue to watch this video. So I'm actually going to pause the video for a second and fill in my information, and then when I start the video back up, we'll be able to start with number 2. Okay, we're back, and as you can see, I have actually filled in my table. Yours should hopefully look pretty similar to mine at this point. If it doesn't, pause the video now and fill yours in. Of course, you're going to have your own schedule here and have all of your own teachers, but otherwise it's going to look really close to mine. All right, so we are ready to do number 2. And number 2 says text alignment. Center align the text in each cell vertically and horizontally. All right. So alignment is just basically how the text appears in the cells. So I'm actually going to do a left click and drag across all of these cells in my table to select them all so that the changes that I do will change to everything. I'm then going to go to the layout ribbon, and here is where I can do my text alignment. I want to center align vertically and horizontally, so that is this middle one. I'm going to click on it, and you can see that everything got moved to the middle. All right. Moving down to number 3. Cell shading. Shade all the cells in the middle column a color of your choice. All right, nice. So we can make this any color we want. We want to do just the middle column, so I am going to once again do a left click and drag all the way down the middle so that I select all of these. All right. Cell shading is on the design ribbon. It is right here, kind of looks like a paint bucket. When you click on it, it gives you lots of color options to choose from. And I think I'm going to choose this beautiful blue, but you can pick any color you want. Ready to go to number 4, scrolling down just a little bit. Remember that at this point you should also be writing down what ribbon you found it on and taking a quick little snip of the button. Okay. Insert a column. Insert a 4th column to the left of the 1st column. All right. So a lot of times when you make a table, you're going to realize that you need an additional column or an additional row. And luckily, Word allows you to just simply insert one instead of having to restart it. So it says that we want to insert a column to the left of the 1st column. So we actually want a new column to appear over here to the left. So I'm going to put my cursor in the 1st column. You can see how it's blinking right there on hour. I'm going to go to the layout ribbon. And this section right here allows you to insert. So I can insert above, below, left, or right. And I, of course, want to insert left because that's what the directions ask me to do. So I click Insert Left, and it puts a brand new column over here on the left for me. Merge cells. Select all of the cells of the new column. Merge them into one large cell. All right, so I am going to select all of these cells just like the directions ask me to do, and then I am going to merge these together. Basically what that means is I'm going to take more than one little box or cell, and I'm going to make it one big cell. And that is also on the layout ribbon right here. So I click this one time, and it makes this whole entire thing one big cell, or one big box. Text direction. Type class schedule in the large cell you just created. Make the text direction vertical. Refer to the example if needed. Change the size of the text to 18 point. All right. So I'm going to type in class schedule. I'm going to change the direction of the text right here on the layout ribbon. So I'm going to click this one time. Now I can either make it go down like that, or if I click it another time, I can make it go up like this. I actually kind of think I like this better, so I'm going to go with that. And then it says to change it to 18 points. So I'm going to select this whole thing, go to my home ribbon, because I know that's where I go to change the size of the text, and I choose 18. We are moving fast now. Number 7, adjust the cell size. Make the width of the far left column 0.5 inches. All right, so after I put in the text, there's like a lot of empty space here, too much empty space, in fact. So I want to adjust this so that it's much smaller. I want to make it only 0.5 inches. And to do that, I'm going to go to the layout ribbon. And right here in the middle is the size of the rows and the size of the columns. The bottom one is the column, the top one is the row. Right now, this current column that I have my cursor blinking in is 1.49 inches. That's way too big. I only want it to be 0.5 inches. So I can either use these arrows to start adjusting it, or I could just type in 0.5. I'm just going to click the down arrow a few times until I get to 0.5. Ooh, that looks really nice. Now there's not any extra space there. Moving down to number 8. Distribute rows and columns evenly. Select all the cells except for the far left column. Choose to distribute rows and columns to make all cells the same size. All right, so this is something you would do just to make everything look a little bit nicer. All right, so it says to select everything but this far left column. So I'm going to do a selection of this area right here. This is my original table. And I am going to distribute this so that everything is nice and even on both sides. Now the distribute button is right next to the row height and the column width. It is right here. So I'm going to first click distribute rows. That barely moved, and now I'm going to hit distribute columns, and that also barely moved. So you might think that that really wasn't very necessary, but now all of these columns, all 3 of these are the exact same width, and all of these rows are the exact same height. It just makes everything look a little bit more even and balanced, a little more professional looking. All right, number 9, change the borders. Use the Draw Borders feature to create a 3-point gold triple line border going all the way around the outside of the table. All right, so this is probably the toughest part of doing tables, is to get the borders to work. Right now, the borders are just these simple black lines. They're not too exciting. I'm going to go to the Layout ribbon, and actually, I'm sorry, go to the Design ribbon. And this is my border section. And I can make different changes to the border that I want. So right here is the border style. And the directions ask me to do a 3-line border. So I could do this one if I wanted to. I could do one of these. I'm actually going to choose this one right here. But it doesn't matter which one you pick as long as it has 3 lines. So I'm going to click on that. It asked me to do 3-point. Word actually already changed this to 3-point, so I don't have to do any changes to it. But in case if you did, you could hit this down arrow and make an adjustment. And then it wants it to be gold. So I'm going to click on pen color, and I'm going to choose a gold like this one right here maybe. Okay. Now you might notice that my cursor has turned into kind of a paintbrush pen looking thing. This is telling me that I can now draw borders, and the directions wants me to draw a border around the outside. So I'm going to take my paintbrush cursor, I'm going to hold it above one of my outside borders and do a left click and hold it. And as I move this, I'm going to start to highlight that top border. You can see it kind of gets dark gray. As soon as I let go, Word applies that border for me. I'm going to do that to all the sides. When you're doing this, make sure that you are on the border itself. If you're not, it won't work. In fact, right now, you see how I'm not on the border? When I let go, that's not going to work. I actually have to be on the border, and it has to start kind of highlighted in gray for this to work. All right, cool. That is starting to look pretty good. I think we only got one left. Center table. Okay. Go to the Page Layout ribbon. Click on the small box next to Page Setup. Choose the Layout tab. Change the vertical alignment to center. Your table should move to the center of your page. Refer to the example if needed. All right, so the reason this one's actually really easy to do, but it's kind of tough because it's hidden. It's really hard to find. On the Page Layout ribbon, right here where it says Paragraph, or actually I think it's Page Setup, isn't it? Yeah, Page Setup. Right here where it says Page Setup, there's this tiny, tiny little box. You're going to click on that. This window appears. And you're then going to hit the Layout ribbon, or the Layout tab. And right here in the middle, it says Page Vertical Alignment. Currently, my vertical alignment is top. I don't want that. I want it to be center. So I'm going to click on this and hit Center and hit OK. My table gets moved to the center of my document. I'm kind of scrolling up and down now so you can see that. If you want it to be fully in the center, you can actually also click on this little box that appears in the top left corner, and you can center it as well like that. So now my table is fully in the center. In fact, if I zoom out on my page, you can see that it is smack dab in the middle. All right, guys, we are actually done with our table. So hopefully you were able to follow along. Hopefully you're able to finish as well. Please make sure that you have put what ribbon each one is on, and you've also done a snip of the button. And then right down here it says that once you think the table looks correct, you should check the key. And if you are satisfied, then you're ready to turn it into Edmodo. All right, guys, thanks for listening.